When you hear the name OnlyFans, what's the first word that comes to mind?
Adult content.
Exactly. So it's got a stigma kind of associated with it, but you've created something a little different with TrueFans.
Yep.
Tell me about what TrueFans is.
TrueFans is the intentional pivot away from a saturated market in that industry of content creation, creator monetization, membership platforms. We saw what was out in the market. It was predominantly porn and adult. And we knew that there was a market for people that wanted to monetize that weren't associated with that stigma. We knew that there was even more people that wanted to monetize external of that industry. So what we did is we looked at everyone. We saw things we liked, we saw things we didn't like, and we started building with the intent to become the logical choice platform for creators all over the world. So we just listened with the intent to engineer. It wasn't anything like super radical or very creative. It was just hospitality, like considering empathetically what people want and then rolling up our sleeves and making that happen, that's the hard part. Building software, communication without ambiguity is the hard part. But getting the answers to the test just requires hospitality thinking and empathy towards X, who is your customer. So that's all it was.
So you can essentially monetize small businesses and influencers outside of having that name of OnlyFans.
100%. Yeah, that's what we did. We've got live features. We actually just did a major overhaul on all our servers. Our platform's super fast, no matter how many people are actively on it simultaneously, whether it's 10 or 10 million. We allow people in a variety of different niches, again, external, the adult space, to get paid for messaging, get paid for lives, similar to Twitch, if people are familiar with that platform. Donations, gifts, pledges. There's an entire marketplace that we call the Vault. So if somebody wants to host learning management tools or host videos, or they've got trainings, or they've got photography, whatever they have, they can put it in this environment and do upsells as well, outside of just subscriptions and specials. Basically, it's an entire ecosystem that a creator can use to get paid for their stuff. And then they own the data. They're in control of the algorithm. There really is no algorithm other than it's your people. When you post, everyone gets notified, and it's your environment, it's your data. We don't keep your emails. We're not making money on advertisement dollars, so you're not the product.
When you said upsell and downsell, I guess on that end, are they able to, is it like a sales funnel that they can create inside there?
Yes, it doesn't get super complex. It's actually really part of the goal is to make it very simple for folks that maybe aren't familiar with Kartra or ClickFunnels or Fusionsoft or all these different mechanisms to convert leads or traffic. We wanted it to be as simple as sign up, set up some of the basics, keep it really similar to traditional social medias that people are used to. And then they're operating really quickly within 2 minutes, 5 minutes of setting up their profile. They're live, ready to start processing payments globally and start spreading the news and bringing people into their environment.
So you've got creators on there, influencers, small business owners.
Yep.
What are some of the more intriguing business models you've seen on there?
Guys that have comic books, got guys that do sports photography, got guys and gals that do shoot, move, communicate. I come from a military background, so I'm a big advocate in freedom in general. But typically on most social media platforms, you're not allowed to really educate folks on weapon systems or shoot, move, communicate tactics. Like a lot of that's frowned upon for whatever reason. It's just their rules or their thoughts. But on our platform, there's folks that are professionals that are experts at the firing range, that are experts in tactics, and they've created communities centered around that hobby and that education and awareness. So there's that. We've got gun enthusiasts all the way to people that just do freehand art. So it's a wide range of different folks. I was telling you before we kick this thing off, one of the areas that we're targeting now is missionaries, them folks that are downrange that traditionally have been getting income through letters or like the magnets that you stick on your refrigerator. And well, that's great. Can you imagine what would happen if their supporters were able to join their live, let's say while they're building a well in Haiti, or while they are actively putting bricks inside of a school to start building up that foundation, or handing out books, whatever they're doing over there. Imagine how much more support they could likely get if people were active participants of that mission versus they're just on the fridge. And so it's a really fun thought. It's just a matter of getting it into the right hands. And I pray on stuff like that we use the gifts and the talents and the technology that we have for purpose and for more so kingdom building than just profit. Like, it's cool to make money, and it's a good indicator that you're doing something good. People are buying. There's an exchange there, and you can be proud of that, and I am. But at the same time, it's what level can we do good? How much further can it go and go out?
And to bring that up as well, I tithe to a church that I have, and it's an online church that brought me back whenever I was through the past and everything. It brought me back to Christianity and everything.
Yeah.
I want to give to others, like you said, but it's been a challenge to find that. So at the end of the year, when I'm doing taxes, typically I'll just end up tithing to the same cause because it's easier for me to click a couple buttons because I've done it before. I can't go search down a missionary or, you know what I mean? Somebody of that. But that sounds like you're coming up with something that's going to bridge that gap.
Yeah, I hope so. There's a lot of people doing really great things all around the planet, not just in the United States or here in Indiana or individual states, that I think if they knew of a way to broadcast what they're doing and to build a community and then have the tools and the simplicity to raise awareness and raise money for their thing, they would do that. And then some of the tactics, oftentimes everybody has a different range and business acumen, like business knowledge. And some folks, it doesn't come really natural to think about increasing their ROI or how to grow their traffic, or they have just different gifts and talents in different areas. So what we find ourselves doing oftentimes is once somebody's signed up and set up, there's a lot of emphasis on training and helping people get from point A to point B, whatever that objective is, and giving them just some free strategies on, hey, do this, or hey, step one is start here, step two would be here. And then maybe once you start earning some, then you can get into more like paid traffic strategies and blogs and start owning your SEO and things of that nature. But really, my company, my partners and I are just really enthusiasts. Like, we like to start free and then work towards those progressional different strategies.
You touched base a little bit on this, on some of those tactics. Have you seen or used any other business tactics that aren't well known right now?
I think so, man. I guess just maybe not like well celebrated. We've built several companies now to multiple millions just by direct outreach on Instagram. So that requires step one. I'll give really actionable insights to this. Step one is make sure that your vehicle where you're going to be transporting that message looks reliable, looks trustworthy, looks great, represents you and your brand really well. So whether it's a personal account or a business account, make sure it doesn't look like crap. Make sure you have a good profile picture. Make sure your images are HD. I turn our profile pages into what I call billboards. There's really no like individual pictures. It's all little pictures that make one image that tells a message. And then that becomes a vehicle. And it's got a bio, etc. But once you have your profile in a good place, step two is to target who's your person, what's going on in their life, what sucks, what's going great, what are their pains. That's going to help you craft your message, which gets their attention authentically. You want to beat the crowd. There's a lot of people sending DMs that are just copy and paste and not very internet etiquette. It's just going through numbers, but they're not effective. So you want to do your due diligence and be sending out messages the same way that you would want to introduce to somebody in real life or someone to introduce you to you in real life. Be personable. And then our call to action is always like booking a call. So we ask, hey, if we set up a demo call, would you jump on? Nothing profound, right? And then that call turns into showing them what we have, really identifying where they're at, where they want to go, and then seeing if there's a fit. That's it. And if there is, our offer is pretty simple because it's going to help them make money. It's a no-brainer offer, which is what I'm always looking for anyway. If your offer isn't a slam dunk, then start there. Fix your offer. Make something that's truly valuable. And then you're not going to have as much trouble in sales mode, quote unquote, because you've got something that's helping people that you're proud of. Yeah.
That's something
that's really it. That's it. Just direct outreach, targeted. We've refined that message over the years of chopping the tree, if you will. And then we move it to a conversation. That conversation turns into a new creator. Then we help that creator along their way.
That's a great
such
way
a
to pitch
powerful
things.
statement or question.
Yeah.
It's reciprocal. And I learned that. I've been in business a long time and I've read different books, and I was in network marketing selling green juice that was like one of my first internet transactions was in a network marketing company called Zija, and I loved it. And it was all over Tennessee. You probably heard of it before. A lot of guys in Tennessee were involved in it. Met some awesome people. Built my belief in residual income and opportunity. I actually heard that phrase by a guy, I can't remember his name, but it just works, man. Hey, if I did this, would you do this? Hey, if I opened the door, would you come through? Hey, if I set up a demo call, would you come on the call with me? Hey, if I made dinner, would you want to come over and have some? It's just such an easy, it takes the pressure off. That phrase is powerful. So hopefully somebody uses it.
It kicks that person out of the registered no that they want to default to, and they have to think about it for a second. I like that. So with helping them, are you setting up for with the app? So say somebody comes to you with an idea. What's that process look like?
When we're actually like developing a software or they've got an idea?
Yes.
Yeah. So oftentimes, very few people come to me or us in general with a well-rounded, pre-refined, ready to go blueprint. So oftentimes we're helping them do just that. Put
Mm,
together a better rounded idea or blueprint of what it is that they're trying to get quoted or what it is that they want to build. And we're giving some suggestions. We're helping them go down the road of extracting that idea into fruition, which requires a bunch of different questions that we'll ask. Some people are more refined than others in their ideation process, but oftentimes it's a similar conversation for everyone. It's just getting to a blueprint or a design that we can then give a quote on accurately of, okay, this is how long we think it's going to take. Here's the milestones where we will get paid once we complete these objectives. Here's how we think it's going to look and operate. Here's where we think you can make money back on this and your ROI. And here's some thoughts that maybe you should consider. And here's what it'll look like. Here's what it'll be built in. All these different items that they'll see in the spec sheet is what we call it. And then we get a confirmation of if they want to begin. If they do, then there's a lot of communication that happens from the beginning till the end during handoff. So really, whether you're building a house or you're building a software, eliminating ambiguity is the ultimate objective. It's, hey, what is this thing? Tell us about it, and then we're going to help you put it into an actionable sort of template to actually see the light of day. That's where a lot of software people have failed for hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, spent a ton of time in tech to not see anything leave the shipyard. I think that's a more common story for anybody I don't care if you're a corporate or if you're a solo entrepreneur. A lot of people fail. And that's
yeah.
because of ambiguity and playing telephone tag ineffectively. So we try to avoid that. We use a lot of design because design is a great bridge between creative people and very technical people.
So say you've got a software built up, an app built up. Are you guys helping them grow that app as well? Because I know getting that thing, you could have the best software in the world, but if you don't know how to grow that thing, it's sit there.
Yeah,
If it doesn't get in front of the right eyes.
we do to an like I want to see people succeed, and we do, like, from a business perspective, it's within our best interest to help people continue to succeed and grow, and then we're their builders. But some of the characteristics that people need are discipline, consistency, grit. Some people have that, some people don't. And we've got enough experience where we can give strategy or we can make connections or we can introduce them to resources. The person that needs it typically is the one that's going to go out and be successful. It's not the person that just wants it. It's the person this has to work. So I remember, like, early on, I would be apprehensive about the guy that's spending his last dime on the business or the technology. And I used to be like weary of that. Now it's, dude, give me that guy. That guy's going to make it work
He's going to
because
do
he
what's
has
necessary.
to, and he's going to adapt. He's going to be plugged in. He's not going to miss meetings. He's ready to go to battle. And yeah, that person will continue to grow, continue to get the lessons, continue to improve as a project manager or an owner, and all those characteristics. That's your house, if you will, that you're building. And you take that everywhere, whether it's one product or multiple. Who you become in the process of that journey is really the ROI.
What are some accomplishments that you've achieved that most people don't know about?
I get, outside of like business and finance stuff, man, I'm triumphing over like my flesh right now, which is just dope. It's a different battle. It's like I'm triumphing over my emotions, right? Like fear, and which happens a lot, right? And inadequacies, fears of what ifs, and all these different things. Like triumphing over those and capturing my thoughts and analyzing them way better than I ever have. And then realizing like my biggest crutches, like my biggest areas of, let's say, chinks in the armor, right? So I'm a male, I'm happily married, I love my wife, but I'm not immune to lust, right? This is getting real for a second. We're under attack when it comes to social media and imagery and media in general. It's like us guys, like we're under attack by the distraction of lust. And it's like to defeat myself in that battle is this ongoing new challenge. So I'm really like currently, there's victories that I'm winning that most people don't know about. It's that I'm being very intentional about regulating my thoughts, regulating my heart, like regulating my plans to align with who I'm supposed to be. And it's a whole different, it's almost like a spiritual fight versus a physical fight. And so, yeah, man, so those are going to be victories, or they are victories in motion, but I don't think they ever stop. I think they're constant. But yeah.
Something you have to build upon as well.
Yeah.
It doesn't go away. That's something as well.
But it's real. And I'm also working on just being real, dude. So many, we all wear masks to some degree. I think we would all relate a lot more if we were really radically honest about the ugly and about the tough stuff that we're dealing with, especially as men. Like us men are real quiet unless we get a few beers in us, and it's open season to talk about some of the ugly or the pain that people are struggling with, like as dads or as business owners, husbands, etc. We're all living a very similar life when the curtains open up, when the hearts open up, and that's very profound, I think, when we're really honest and the masks come off. So that's another thing. I'm just looking for my guys, my warriors, man, that are in proximity.
It's a mental battle. It really is. And you think you have one thing figured out, but then, like you said, it's something else. So you have business figured out. You've been successful with business, but then there's still personal life that you have to attend to, build upon, and improve. And that's something as well. Funny you say that. Even last night, I had the thought of I was getting stressed out with some things. I podcast. I don't have the companies that I used to, and I don't have the stresses that come with that. And I don't have the employees. I don't have to meet payrolls. I don't have 30 employees to meet payroll anymore. Like, I don't have those stresses anymore. But here I am stressing about something. And I'm thinking, this is the same feeling I had. It doesn't go away. This is a personal thing that I need to address. I need to overcome. So it was a big aha moment I just had. It's going to happen with anything. And this is a personal thing I need to address.
No, I dig it, man. And just being aware, I think that's where success is at too. Like the differentiator between someone that's going to be a high achiever and not, it's the person that's able to identify the thing that they want to improve and takes notice of it. Because if you don't notice something, you're going to walk past it or you're going to trip over it or whatever. I think being accountable to your thoughts and accountable to these measuring aspects of your total characteristics and thoughts. That's a very successful thing, dude, that I don't think a lot of people do. And it's starting there is great because it's at least, okay, I've identified this thing. I get stressed out and I get worried. Why and when and what's actually happening, like physiologically, what's happening and what's the triggering thing and what am I afraid of or what am I getting into the weeds of that requires you take time and delve into that. And what I've found, I don't know if this would be helpful for you or other people or not, but I've found just being present and just praying, being grateful for the things that are, even the bad things that are going on, bad, quote unquote, things that are going on in your life. It's like good, man. That phrase is a wonderful phrase that the guys that I've looked up to or who have been mentors really embody. Something doesn't go right or whatever. It's like, all right, cool. We're going to adapt this way. It's all right. It's good. Good. It's going to force us to go in this direction or good. It's this way or we're going to learn this in the process. It's like that mentality. Watch out. You're going to become something really terrific if nothing can shake your earth.
Problems are what we solve.
Yeah. So you owned a company too. So you had 30 employees. I guess maybe your listeners already know, but I'm curious.
I really don't talk about it that much, honestly. But yeah, I was in real estate. I had I had a investment firm that I built up to a few million. I say a few million. I think almost 2 million. I think we did the last 8 months before I honestly shut it down just because I wasn't fulfilled with it. And I met the point where my basic needs are met with other investments and things I have now. So I really got serious with myself and asked, what really makes me happy? What would I do if money wasn't an issue? And just came to things. I enjoy business. I enjoy helping others with business. With what I've done, I've helped all my friends create businesses. I've helped them all scale. And it led me to honestly podcasting. But I have a few others as well. Like I have a holdings company and I've recently got into private equity as well on the low end, little bit. It sounds way better than it is, but just dabbling through with that. But that's my background on that end. And then now I'm getting onto the more of the online space and creating a personal brand and going along with this because I'm interested in this now.
Yeah. No, man, private equity is super interesting.
I don't know much about it, but I know a little bit and I'm doing a little bit of it now. So I say that and I'm no master at all and I don't know much, but
There's a lot to
dabbling in it.
learn, man. Just
Yeah,
structuring one effectively, and that whole industry is really complex. But there's information out there. You can find people that are teaching it or doing master classes on it and helping people do just that. So there's definitely information. It'll be fun to see where you go with it. And there's a huge opportunity to do good with raising capital for the right purpose, for the right reason, especially if you come
absolutely.
from real estate too. That's a whole world that I'm really not super familiar with. But yeah, man, it's a fun thought.
And you touched base on it too. You can always find information or do something online nowadays.
Mhm.
And that just, I look back as well and I think about the times where the pivotal points where I really projected forward in companies and in my personal life is I usually bought a course or something and
Yeah,
I gained
finding the right
information from
course.
somebody or a mentor. I got coaching. I couldn't get past like the 500K a year mark in a company until I
Mhm.
hired a business coach. And then literally we tripled in 3 months. So I was like, okay, that's it. It's the unknowns. It's what we don't know yet. So I'm big on that. It took me years before I'd invest in myself. I was very frugal and very stingy with things and
Yeah.
it didn't pay off until I started investing and doing that. So I love that. And I'm looking honestly to probably start pivoting more towards that now and doing that. That's where I'm at now with that. But
Beautiful.
nothing.
That's something key, man, to be able to I think part of mine was ego early on. I felt like I knew everything, and it wasn't until I got exposed to other people that are doing more magnificent things in business that I realized like, oh, and then they invest in coaching and they invest in new information, in new opportunities, get in front of other people, and it's oh, I should do that too. Like one of my mentors spends like over 500,000 a year just going to events, like mastermind events, 500,000. And there's probably guys
Oh,
out there that do more than that, but his network is ridiculous because he's invested in it, not just spending the money and attending, but actually like heartfelt and attending these things with the intent of being open to relationships and finding win-wins. You watch this guy network, he's truly a master. And it's authentic too. It's not like some engineered nonsense. He's a human's human. He's a master connector. And his business has prospered since that. So yeah, man, investing in a coach is such a good investing in information. And you mentioned it, it's all totality, like investing in yourself, but it requires you get out of the way and realize that it's going to help you build your house.
ego. You mentioned it there, getting out of your own way and putting your ego aside. And I'm sure you can attest to this as well.
Mhm.
Learning from somebody, or heck, I have a holdings company, almost 8 figures, and I'm sitting here paying this kid to learn something new and another skill now that is only doing 7 figures. And I'm in my head, I'm thinking, man, I've done this before. I'm going to have to pay you 10 grand to learn this again. But it's just drop the ego, be a student, and always be learning. That's huge.
Definitely get in the way of opportunity. That's what a buddy of
Yeah.
mine says. It's such a cool thought. How do I get in the way of opportunity? And man, so I was telling you before we jumped on this, I work for the state of Indiana Economic Development through the Small Business Development Center. We're all funded through the SBA and Purdue University. And it's been awesome. And if you got a heart, man, to serve, you got a heart to help entrepreneurs, I really can't recommend enough finding like your local SBDC like in your area or whoever's listening to this, if this is applicable to you too, man, plug into the SBDC and go have it's completely free. It's no cost consulting. It just helps you get in the way of opportunity that, on that same caveat from that. And it is their whole mission is economic development by helping small businesses start, grow, or exit. And there is a bunch of resources I wish I knew about early on that I would have totally take advantage of if I knew about them, but I just didn't know about them. And they were right in the same office complex that I was in. I just never knew what they did or who they were or what was going on. There's advisors all over the country. A lot of them do have business experience. Some of them have degrees. They've been in the industry a while, so they have connections all over your state. And I've literally seen it firsthand work for entrepreneurs here in Indiana where they get free advertisement. They get free invitations to events. They get exposed to different grants and different things that are happening. And if you invest in the relationships of that ecosystem, if you will, it's going to be a good thing for your business. It's that simple. Highly recommend that, man, if you haven't plugged into your local team. And brutally honest, not every team is the same. Just, I wish they were. I wish everybody was like phenomenal, but you're probably going to have different experiences depending on what county, what state you're in. So my hope is that you have a really great team there in Tennessee and yeah, they'll help you plug in.
I'll definitely look into that. I've been looking for something like that, honestly. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that a lot, honestly.
Got to plug the SBD, man.
Yeah. That's a good networking, I'm sure, as well.
It is.
Growing.
It really is. There's so many cool events, man. Like literally, we just had one the other day. So there's a lot of agriculture here. One for farmers, and they did a whole workshop on if you want to distribute meat, and then international distribution. We've got some experts. A lot of people, they're interested in the idea of government contracting. So we work with Apex Accelerators, which is again a national team. And basically they're like us, but all they do is focus on helping businesses get aligned with government contracts or the prerequisites to be GSA certified, which just means you are now able to be a vendor for the federal government.
You've mentioned a few different ways now, so I've got to
Yeah.
ask, what all ways are you making money right now?
Digital software. I own multiple companies that are doing different services in the interwebs. I own a finance company. We did really well with what's called the employee retention credit. We help people gain access to that credit. Essentially, businesses that were negatively impacted by the pandemic were potentially able to get up to $26,000 per W-2 employee. So if they did qualify through our CPAs and our team, we would help them gain that access to that credit. And then we took 20% in lieu of helping them do all the paperwork, file it through, taking some of the liability. So we did really well with that. That led to another program I was telling you about. It leverages Section 125 in the IRS. It is a insurance product with really cool financial incentives attached to it. So basically 30,000 foot view, it helps an employer save $700 to $800 per employee per year. And it increases that employee's take-home pay by on average 4 to 6%, all while offering them a whole slew of medical benefits at no net cost for them and their families. It doesn't change anything that they already have going on or they don't have going on. It is truly an add-on. We partnered with a company that found our marketing, and it's just been a super fun story to tell, just helping employers leverage that product that is essentially only possible because Congress passed some legislation that emphasized and championed preventative health care. So mammograms, prostate checks, dentist work. They believe, and I agree with this, they believe that if employees or American citizens are engaging in preventative health care, then they're ultimately going to avoid larger bills because they're unhealthy, which makes sense, right? If you're actively participating in healthy things, you can probably avoid the expensive, costly things in the future. So that's essentially what this product does, is it helps employees engage in their healthcare while then also offering these amazing financial incentives. So I own a finance company there, and we're mainly FinTech, financial technology for that organization. Let's see, True Fans. So that's one of the platforms that I own. I don't do any consulting anymore now that I work with the state. So anything that I do for folks is free through the state. I haven't done any coaching or anything like that. It's just all, hey man, go check this out, go here, go talk to this person. I really enjoy that. Yeah. And then I got investments. So I'm learning that world now. I grew up low middle class and I was a grunt in the military. I still really don't know a whole lot about strategy and setting up this infrastructure, managing money. That's not my jam. So I found people that are really good at it that I know and trust. And I'm building a little team that's going to manage all my stuff. And I don't have to think on it. I can think in other areas and I get to pay them. And then we've got this performance dynamic. So I'm really excited about that. And then I can focus on earning income. And we've got our strategies set up that just operate that whole world. So that's really it right now. There's other products that are spinning up. Some of them fail, but I'm constantly building my own little things that I think will work. I'd say 70% fail. Realistically, we'll invest 20, 40, 50K into something and then we put it out in the market. And sometimes it's a bust and we try to tinker with it. We don't spend too long burning the rubber. We'll kill a product and just let it go by the wayside or try to exit it or sell it to somebody else. So yeah.
Is that before MVP, I'm guessing?
So man, we probably should do more testing and like market research, but I don't. I just don't. I'm going to throw 20 grand is the risk, right? In a lot of cases where we can get I can pay my guys and we can get a good minimum sellable product up that then we can go test the market. But we like to think we've got a good pulse on the market without doing a whole lot of product research. And oftentimes we're not reinventing the wheel. We're seeing what's out there, what's currently converting, and then we improve and try to become a logical choice. It's very hard to just create something brand new that's not a variation or a enhancement from something that already exists. Those things are fun, but they come with a whole nother set of risks, right? If you're first to market. That's a whole nother, we delve down that road. Like OpenAI was the first. ChatGPT is the name of AI right now, but are they going to be the long-term player? Probably not. There's probably going to be somebody that looks at what they have and improves it. There's all these competing organizations now. So we'll see.
Yeah.
It's
Everybody's
like
got
the
a
dawn
chat,
of the internet.
an AI chat now.
Yeah, well, Elon's rolling out his own now, and if you know the dynamic of that, he started out with OpenAI, and then he was upset with those guys.
Yeah, and there's Gemini now is that Microsoft? Gemini
So
or Google?
Microsoft actually owns a huge chunk of OpenAI, to the best of my
Now with the
knowledge.
whole falling out thing that they did before, yeah.
And Bard is Google's.
Yeah.
There's
That's right.
another one, I can't remember. There's going to be a lot more. And there's
yeah.
a ton of AI products like being created now with these language modules. So yeah, we'll see it start popping up everywhere.
What's making you the most money right now?
So the finance stuff, finance tech, which I never really thought I was going to be a finance bro. I never thought I was going to get into that world. It wasn't something that I thought was fascinating until later in life. Really, like the last couple years, I've been just astounded at these awesome products that can be built that are digital products, right? There's really nothing physical about these products unless someone's taking advantage of the insurance, right? They go see a medical professional or they get their physical check from ERC, but building products compliantly from the IRS code is super exciting. And I'm sure a lot of people would find that really boring, but
Yeah, it sounds boring.
when you look at legislation and when you see the objective of Congress or amendments, and you've got a tactical sort of entrepreneur thought process on that, then there's really unique ways that you can distribute the overall objective or the mission that maybe Congress had and come alongside of it. And that's essentially what ERC companies did. That's what this insurance product is doing. A lot of people make adaptations and changes to their products based on congressional decisions. So it's just a fun, interesting world of it is financial, especially when it pertains to like tax credits that incentivize actions.
Did you just so with the ERC, I had a few other buddies do that as well.
Mhm.
Are you just building a team around that and then transition them into that?
So we did really well with ERC, and we built a software that was our own custom CRM for that product. We worked with strategic partners, affiliate associates, and they were vertical. So people that were CPAs, people that owned finance companies, people that were in banking, folks that were already working with employers were our affiliates. So they would basically send them to us, right? Our CPAs would onboard them and collect information and qualify. If they qualified, then we would draft up a contract. We would help them receive those credits, and then we would take an administrative fee for helping them do that. Just like a CPA would take an administrative fee for helping you do your taxes. We did that, simplifying the process. Now, if somebody wanted to do it themselves, go ahead. And some people did, but a lot of this is over a lot of folks' head. So they wanted the assistance. And that was the value of our service, was a compliant way that you could access, one, knowledge, do you qualify? And then two, actually receiving that check. Yeah. And then that led to the other relationship. So that technology was adapted to fit this new product, which is that Section 125 product, but it's a very similar platform. Basically notifies the affiliate of different, that's a CRM, right? So if something new happens in the pipeline, let's say that referred employer has a meeting, that affiliate's going to get notified that a meeting occurred, and there might be notes on it, and then it will show them what phase they're at in the deal. And then if there is a contract signed, then that affiliate is awarded X amount of commission for that. And all that's managed through the platform. Is pretty cool.
Is it to where it runs out of money, or is there a cap on what can be funded or distributed?
Not currently. That would take Congress amending the current Section 125 rules, which they can do. They can do it whenever they want. As Congress moves pretty slow, there's a lot of things to calculate and a lot of different opinions and moving parts. And what's cool is the company's really well connected politically. So they get that information. They can move pretty agilely if needed to adapt something or amend something. They get the checkbox in my world of like warm and fuzzies. I am like a tactical pessimist, man. I look at stuff and it's, where's there going to be a hole? What should we look out for? And I'm tactical and I'm optimistic about it, but I'm very much like pessimistic when it comes to deals or opportunities. My partner typically sends stuff to me, so I can run it through the gamut of disbelief or the gamut of where is this going to fail and how can we avoid that, or where's there going to be bottlenecks, or where is there potential pitfalls in compliance, etc. So this met all my needs within 6 months of reviewing. I was really happy with it. One of the best products I think I've ever seen, truly.
Wow.
So
And
like
it's
right now,
reoccurring as well.
yeah, it's one of the most lucrative things that I think I'll ever potentially ever be a part of. And it's going to do it already is doing a lot of good throughout the country, but to participate that in the way that we are building momentum to do, we've got a lot of pipeline employees already, like rolling this out in Q1, larger companies discovering this. It's really fun to think about the stories that are going to be told from the employer and the employee. And then overall, it's really hard to quantify how many people will avoid major medical issues if it's very easy for them to participate in preventative health stuff, them and their families. So it's a cool thought, man, all while making money in the process of delivering something that's valuable. Again,
Wow.
hits that checkbox of warm and fuzzies too.
Yeah. Actually can get behind something that you're pushing as well. That's a thing. A lot of these fads, I feel like, that come through, it's just nobody gets behind it because you don't know what it is half the time, or you can't really endorse it, but you can feel good about what you're actually pushing at that point.
Yeah, the hardest part about this is that it seems too good to be true. No net cost for my staff or their families to leverage these benefits. No, there's not. The way that it was built, and that all starts to make sense once somebody does their due diligence and they look at how the product is built and where the income is generated from the tax credit for taking advantage of a preventative health line item, getting a CPC code, and then looking at the math on how it's spread out. It starts to make sense. And dude, like I've been on with legislative tax attorneys. That was 2 weeks ago. I was on with them. I've got my own attorneys, my own CFOs, CPAs that we've worked with that once they do their due diligence, I've had so much confirmation at this point from really smart professionals in the finance world that it's a no-brainer. And at this point now, when I talk to employers, it's, hey, you're losing money. Take a look at this. Trust me, but verify. And take a really good look at, bring whatever smart people you want into the conversation, but have a serious look into this. It's something that's going to help you. And right now you're losing money, not taking advantage of it. Anyway,
That's good.
it's fun.
I've got a lot more questions, honestly, about that, but I'll probably ask you on another
Yeah,
time too
that's
about
fine.
that.
What I do,
Another
man,
one.
because I'm not, so full disclosure, I'm not a licensed broker, nor do I want to be. I'm not a licensed insurance broker. So all I do is tell people about what I know, tell people about the story, and then I connect them to the VP or the president or one of the licensed brokers that I know in the organization, and then ask whatever question you want. Bring up. It's more of an effective way for somebody to get answers. I'm not the messenger, or I'm not the message. I'm more so the messenger.
Gotcha. Yeah. You're
And then I
connecting
just
that.
connect the two, and I don't even really get on calls anymore to say so and so, talk to so and bring on your HR, bring on your tax attorney, or whoever, and jam out.
I feel like the easier way as well.
Yeah, and then I'm out of the way. I can go play with my kids, or I
Let them
doing
figure
other
it out.
things.
Hash it out. Hey, what's your take on, for small businesses, what's your take on PR?
So I think more digital real estate is a good thing. The internet's this massive highway. There's billions of people driving down the highway. Get as many billboards as you can. Like podcasting, in my opinion, is an amazing PR thing because it's long form content. People get to know and trust you and hear your thoughts on a variety of topics. It goes out through the ether of the internet and syndicates really well. So I think the more the merrier. A lot of folks, the actionable side of this is coming up with a plan, coming up with a strategy, and what we call like a social media syndication system. So mine is really simple, and I've been inconsistent, if I'm being honest. It starts with a podcast, and this will get turned into clips, and then the clips will turn into little posts maybe that go underneath a blog, and everything links back to these channels that people can find more of me or thoughts of me, and then everything links back to my website where then people can find services, and the goal is it turns into connections or transactions or goodwill. Like I genuinely want people to be inspired or hear something that changes the trajectory. That's a fun thought, but us having a system is key, and a lot of people don't. They do a post here and there. It's way more about figuring out your exercise routine versus going to the gym once every month, maybe. It's
Good
a determined
analogy.
plan.
That's what I'm actually trying to figure out now. We just started this podcast. December is whenever we first aired.
Yeah.
Beginning of December. So we've been going 4 weeks now, I think. 3 weeks, 4 weeks. But
it's just like the gym, man. You got to fall in love with the process of it and out the impact is going to be, or just make content. One of my thoughts was like, I've got kids, right? Do you have kids?
No, I don't.
No. With that thought, I'm like, man, what if I just made content as a journal for my kids in the future? It would probably change the tonality of how I speak to other people's kids. Like you're
Mm,
somebody's son, right? I'm speaking to somebody's child right now. And
yeah.
when you think about it, we're all just big kids at the end of the day. But if I'm making content with the intent of my kids finding it in the future to get a better understanding of who dad is or where his heart was at or what was on his head, and that helps me give when I'm creating content or doing a dialogue. It's okay. What's Caden going to see or what's Finley going to see or how can I help them in the future? They become your audience. And I think it's super important to know your audience when you're creating anything. And again, hospitality and empathy towards that person is like that's it. That's everything.
What a filter. Thinking of your children as your audience.
Yeah, man.
Would you be pushing or promoting the same thing or say what you're saying? I feel like I feel like social media would change drastically if everybody had that filter.
Yeah. What value are you putting out there? Are you giving them junk food or are you giving them sustenance? And it's what's the objective like for your nutritional content? Or if there is none, that's a whole nother thing to delve into. And I think about my son and who I want him to be and the things I want him to avoid. Sometimes I think that. Sometimes I think, damn, I want him to slay some dragons too. I want him to get into the fight so he can. That's a weird balance, man. When you got kids trying to figure out what road you want them to travel down. But all in all, I hope to give value, and that's why I like podcasting, man. People ask questions. It's not just me on my own
Yeah.
spewing something. It's we're engaging in dialogue, and yeah, it's cool. But anyway, having a strategy is key. Content syndication system. If you Google that, you can see other people's frameworks for what they do. Who has a really good one? Shoot, I'm drawing a blank. Man, I'm gonna look up his name. Frank Kern.
I'm
That's
I'm
right.
writing that down right now.
Frank Kern. Look up Frank Kern content syndication system. He drew out a really good one years and years ago on what him and his company do. And it's all diagrammed really well, super actionable. Hopefully that's helpful. But
All
it's a
right.
smart way to take video content and turn it into a multitude of different use cases for a variety of different consumption. And it simplified, like his process simplified it, which is my goal, right? Like I don't want to spend a ton of time distributing media, right? I've
It
got
takes
other things.
forever.
Yeah.
That's literally so my assistant is who edits these podcasts, clips them up, and then disperses them. We have not got to the dispersing part yet. So we
Yeah.
had this grand idea that we built literally. We're using Trello for what we do, but essentially a step by step, the frameworks. We built the foundation for this podcast. It took us 6 months to build this out. Like we had everything before we even started interviewing. Like we built out the system first because I've ran off sticky notes. I've ran a company off sticky notes before. When I first got going, I knew that, hey, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it.
That's smart, man. I applaud that method. Some people go and then they figure it out. I like to at least try to think through some things that might be troublesome to avoid that, the catastrophe or rebuilding foundational stuff in the future. So it's smart to do it that way. And my partner's the other way. He's just offensive. He'll go make sales, make transactions, bring people in, and then we'll build around it. So it's a good ebb and flow for me. It forces me out of my comfort zone because I'm typically a perfectionist. So he pulls me into the chaos, and then I'm like, oh, what do we do here? But yeah, and then I also keep him out of prison. So it's helpful.
There you go. Yeah, it's a good balance.
Mm.
Yeah. The one thing I've learned though, after building a few successful companies and some not so successful, is you have to pay to play sometimes. And I'm not scared to pay to get that foundation and get that going right and utilize what's worked before and also what's not.
Dig it, man. No, I agree. And you're right. It's just choosing who to pay to play is a very important piece. And I don't know how to teach people really to spot the knot. I think the best way is to reverse engineer it. So when you're looking like, who do I pay to play? Who do I pay to get the system or whatever? I think that's where it's really powerful to have people that have already gone the way that you're wanting to go and then interviewing them. Hey, who do you work with? Who did you use for this? Or what platform do you use for this? And vice versa. You're going to get a lot of hopefully filtered information. Like they've already gotten scammed, right? They've already learned some of the lessons. So there's a lot of value, I think, in reverse engineering, like how you make choices on products and et cetera, services.
That's a really good point because so many people nowadays, I feel like sell services or coaching or something, but a lot of them haven't done anything before.
Right. Yeah,
So-
dude. Wait a second. Not that somebody that didn't play in the NFL couldn't be a good coach, but I just think there's two different types of knowledge. There's like knowledge from hearing about something and learning about something, like generally, and then there's knowledge from experience. I can't remember the Greek words, just two Greek words that explain the definitions of those two types of knowledge. One is the knowledge of something, which everybody has nowadays because we live in the information age. I heard this or I saw this. Everybody's a freaking expert in that type of knowledge. But like applied knowledge is having done something and been in the arena. And it makes sense. Who would you take into battle? Would you rather fight with a dude that read about it at school? Or would you rather fight with a dude that's been carrying a sword for the last 10 years? Or a musket, whatever your tool of choice is. Dude, give me the guy that's baptized in combat versus the guy that just read about it online and did some blogs and blah, blah, blah. That's who you're looking for to train you, is the guy that's been throwing punches, not the guy that's read about the velocity of a punch.
That's a really good point. Who has the battle wounds? Who's gone through it? Who's walked the path before and is going to show me to do the same?
Heck yeah, dude. I don't want to learn from somebody who's got general knowledge on something. Not that that can't be good to hear. What have you done? You know, and it's not a knock to anybody that's like getting their wings under them and coaching, but it's, yeah, there's no shortage of like information, but
that's for sure.
That applied information is key. So like right now you're learning about investment funds and stuff like that. There's a dude I know named Bridger Pennington. He teaches this, and his family was from that world of investments. And I think my buddy is like, he's consulting with them right now. Like he's going through the process of learning their applied knowledge. And I think his name's Bridger. You can look him up.
That's something I wish I knew getting into this. So I thought you just have money, and how my thought process was passive income. I have to have rentals, real estate rentals. That's the only passive income I know of. Realize that without management and then somebody to manage those managers and management and the repairs, it's not that passive. Built all that up. But then I got into lending money and the passive portion of that, and then lending as well for small startups, and then realized that's passive. I can lend my money to somebody. I can invest my money in this company or invest my money with this real estate transaction and literally do nothing else. And that's money. So I've gotten big into that over the last 2 years. That's my main source of income, is literally the money, my passive income now. And I was like, wonderful. I'm sitting here working so hard to figure that out. I wish I knew this before, but you have to have money too. And that's something a lot of people don't talk about online, is you make money. Alex Ramosi. Yeah. So he's a big fad now on social media.
Yeah.
His businesses don't make him the most money. The most money he makes is his investments that he has invested. That's what makes him the most money. His money makes his money.
Yeah, dude. I discovered dividends like 3 years ago. And it was this magical experience that like it made sense, like the compound interest aspect of it. And it put me down this path of, okay, these are taxable. Like these dividends, while they're great, they're taxable. So what's some other ways that I can earn similar to this, but it's advantaged for a strategy? And that's where, dude, that's a whole nother world of business. So it's like paying someone to help me set that up for myself, my wife, my kids, based on a strategy that's near and dear to like my heart and my faith. Like that's such a warm thing to even say out loud. I'm excited for like the beginning of this next year to sit down. His name's Billy Cart, and I'm just excited to sit with him and go through these motions in a topic that's mostly over my head as far as strategies for investments and managing wealth. But that's a fun new chapter. And that's really the value of when you are on this entrepreneurial journey. The best parts is the journey. Because when you arrive at like the money destination, just like you said, Dylan, you audited your life. You were like, what do I care about? What is Dylan like? What's Dylan good at? What actually is my ringing of the gong, if you will, the exciting thing? And you're talking about purpose, which is ultimately what we're all chasing, is how do we align our gifts, talents, songs, dances to a fulfilling purpose? And that's where you're going to find not only income, I believe, and what you need financially, but also like fulfillment wise, like filling the void, and why you do what you do is an important thing. Some people, it took me a decently large number for me to realize I wasn't super happy. I wasn't fulfilled, to then like relinquish control, if you will, of the outcome, and then just pray, man. I just prayed, Lord, literally my prayer before I left to California is, Lord, give me the wisdom and the clarity to do the thing that brings you joy, that aligns with my fulfillment, that's honoring and good, that builds the kingdom, treasures, not trophies mentality. And that's when radical cool stuff started happening. I met some really awesome people, rededicated my soul, my life to Christ, and have been looking at a different lens, and I've had a different heart for when I jump on a podcast, or when I'm talking with somebody randomly at the YMCA sauna, or when I'm going to an event, or where I'm struggling with fear and inadequacies. I know that doesn't make sense maybe for some people that are like turned off for whatever reason because of their experience with faith or religion, but it's, man, for me, when I quantify what is the best ROI for a man's life, I believe that the best ROI for a man's life is in kingdom work, is in fulfilling work, and to live life as if you're traveling, not as if you're investing here. And it's taken having the stuff here. And thank God, man, I didn't have to get to billions. I didn't have to drive Ferraris and live like a super worldly lifestyle to realize that wasn't it. Some people have to go that way. And when you're tired enough, my hope for everyone is that they at least give it a shot, at least pray, if they're being honest. If you're not ready, that's cool. Keep going your way. I feel like I'm supposed to say that.
That's what we're put on this earth to do, honestly, spread his word. So in any way you can. And I love that you plugged that in there. So to bank on that, everybody wants to see the flashy cars, the big houses, the mansions, the flaunting the money, essentially. That's what attracts everything nowadays. That's what Instagram is filled with. That's what social media is filled with. They need to see that first. I had this conversation with a buddy that I work out with, who also is another business owner. You've got to have those things to attract that first, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the alternative to that? And still build a following and a brand that people can get with.
Bro, it's a wife. It's an amazing woman in your life that gives you peace, and it's super traditional, right? Like people are against that traditional. It's like, all right, let's compare and contrast. You live extremely worldly. You do as the world is telling you to do, and then you measure how you feel. You measure what's going on in your life. You measure your peace. Now, I've been that route, so that's the only reason I have experience, because I was pretty worldly when I left the military, and I was angry at the world and had a lot going on, like in my heart, in my head, and I drank. And I chased women, and I smoked. And the results of that, the harvest of that, was turmoil, anxiety. I wasn't really aligned with who I'm supposed to be. And I felt that. And because of that, I was on this pursuit of my, let's call it higher self, or my higher calling. And it wasn't until I got tired enough that I relinquished the illusion of control and started praying to this thing that is a radical thought. It doesn't make sense, but we're infants in the cosmos. It was just the best way that I can simplify or try to rationalize omnipotence. So with that, I started seeing fruit. And I think we all want fruit in our lives. Like we all are looking for what is the best ROI of my life. And it's like, man, so how do you market those things? It's something that people will feel. I think people will feel your light. They'll see your light. They'll feel your compassion in your heart. It's not something that's, not to say that you can't be a servant of God and have great stuff and have nice stuff, have a peaceful home, have a sweet car. I just bought a new car and it's cool and I'm grateful for it, man. I was driving up a beat up Chevy Malibu forever. It was an awesome ROI, but it's time for an upgrade. But I think that what becomes the general promotional marketing is your organized, clean, authentically truthful life, where it's, you tell people the reality of your struggle. You tell people the reality of the same things that they're going through. They're just quiet about it. And it's, hey, man, there's peace on this other side. I think that becomes the marketing, just radical truth. And people need that now more than ever. So it just requires a ton of courage for you to be okay with not being okay and having these ugly skeletons in the closet. Not a super comfortable thing. I get it. Anyway.
People relate to that though. And that's what's going to be the change.
Yeah. And it
when
starts
people get real.
I think it starts in a small group, man. Get your warriors, people that are on the same accord. Like maybe they want to do good. There's some people that don't want to get healthy. There's some people that don't want to put down the drugs, don't want to put down the alcohol, don't want to put down the porn, don't want to put down the things that are gripping them because it's become right? It's become this thing that they don't want to relinquish. And because they're hooked on it. And it's this thing that is ultimately holding them back from what's truly good, I think, in their lives. But to be ready to put those things away is a whole different mentality. It's a whole different heart stance. It doesn't feel good to cut off your growth, right? You got a growth. There's going to be some surgery, but what an adventure, right?
Absolutely.
If you're ready.
Those light bulb moments that happen, something just clicks. What was your last big breakthrough moment in business or entrepreneurship?
It was recent, man, this fintech world where I've discovered these products that can be manufactured or built alongside of legislation that can go out and do good things. There's a defensive moat around them too, because very few people are following what legislation's happening and what's going on in there. It's extremely boring. And then maybe that's the case for other niches or products as well, but like the paradigm shift for me was the realization of, oh wow, we're really good at distribution. We're really good at aligning technology with valuable products. Maybe this becomes a niche, right, for us, where we become the engine or digital distribution to a valuable product, valuable service. And it's like a custom digital distribution add-on in this fintech world or financial world. Insurance world has been really cool to do, is be this SaaS marketing dashboard to an existing product. So that's really the most recent paradigm shift, was this evolution of going from operating our own things to now incubating or being side by side with a professional product or service.
So you're actually building the tech for them as well.
It's already done, yeah. It's going to continue to be built based on different integrations that we need, like with their calendar, their internal CRMs, and different feature requests. When you build a tech, there's always going to be things that change or things that are enhanced or improved. Once you get people in, you start using it. There's some adaptations, but yeah, it's already live currently.
And
a little over 1,200 associates now in less than 60 days. People that are going through the training and distributing. If you don't, so you're hearing about this now, you're definitely going to hear about it in the future. Like 100%, people are going to know about the Section 125 and this specific company in the new year for sure. I really do believe that. Just like ERC was this unknown thing.
Yeah.
This is that unknown thing right now that you're going to see a lot of awareness on in the future.
You've taken it a step further, though, and you're building out the tech around it for the distribution of it. That's what's going to sample over everything.
Well,
Anybody who tries to get into it like they did last time.
A lot of these professional services, whether you're an attorney, whether you are a medical doctor in whatever line of work, a dentist, you are a insurance guy, they have a lot of restrictions for how they can market, which is fine. There needs to be some red tape there. But as a licensed professional, you don't have the same ability to promote and distribute like I do as Tim Branyan, individual United States citizen guy, or marketing associate. I empower through distribution and through a platform. It's just, so there's this dovetail groove of compliantly equipping basically appointment setters through a really smart piece of technology. That's really what we're doing, is we are improving a professional service provider's digital distribution really well.
The right way.
Yeah, compliantly and through duplication.
Before I let you go here, I got one last question for you. So if you had to leave a letter to a loved one or a child, let's say your son, about business, what would be on that letter?
Son, I'll see you on the other side.
Figure it out.
No, you're paid in direct proportion to your ability to solve problems and serve people. It's that simple. You're paid in direct proportion. And paid isn't just like financial. I think fulfillment comes from that as well. Like you're paid in direct proportion to your ability to solve problems and serve people. It's empathy, it's hospitality. If you go into building something with a heart and mind of I am going to help this person, and they're not going to be able to help but be an advocate of us and what we did for them, you're going to arrive at something really good, because your focus isn't selfish. It's selfless, and selfless employers, selfless entrepreneurs, selfless builders are the ones that build billion-dollar companies, because they don't waver from the result that they're intending to give to X person or persons. That's all that matters. I don't care about statistics. I don't care about any of the projections or analytics. Not that that stuff isn't important, it is, but it can all be simplified if everyone is attuned to a Chick-fil-A style experience, right? So everybody knows Chick-fil-A like dumps on any other fast food restaurant experience. We can all agree on, I don't care who you are in the United States, that what's the differentiator? Like, sure, it's good food, but if it didn't have that experience, I don't think it'd be nearly as successful.
I agree. I truly agree. Because it's not even that. It's good food, but I know of better food than that.
Yeah. But the experience and the speed and the my pleasure and you're treated
Simplicity.
on purpose. And that they're going to remain successful because of that, whatever that is. I'd love to see their training. And if any, just take that one use case, if you start doing reconnaissance on what their onboarding looks like and how they've built that culture of service, it'd be interesting to see. And then you use that in your own thing.
Take that framework, systematize that yourself into a
It
small business.
works.
Oh yeah.
This flat works. And the more you start to gain, oftentimes you start making more money, you choose better restaurants. You choose to go into maybe more upscale restaurants because you're looking for the experience. You want the service. You want somebody to take the time and be interested in your experience at their place. And it's offering really great experiences can be priced high.
It's true.
We put emphasis on service. Everybody likes to be served and thought about. Very few times I think do people really consider what do their customers want. It becomes more so like you get bogged down in the numbers, you get bogged down in operations and the politics. And if everybody was on that same sheet of music of hospitality and empathy in everything they did at the operational levels, that's a wonderful thought.
Everybody loves hearing their name. That's their favorite. That's their favorite word in the English language is hearing their name. How can restaurants or how can businesses adapt to getting their name before interaction? I was thinking of a restaurant. Whenever a restaurant, you sit down at a restaurant, how can you gain their names as a waitress or something and use their name when serving them? I feel like if you can apply that or figure that out, that would improve the experience that they're having.
There's studies out there that when you rephrase, like what somebody asks you, hey, I want chicken and fries. Okay, chicken and fries. That's a great choice. When you affirm their choice and repeat what they said to you, it increased their tip take-home pay by like 80 or 90%. Just repeating what somebody said is just an acknowledgement alone that you're listening and you care.
That you feel heard.
And then to applaud their choice makes people feel really happy.
Applaud their choice.
Yeah, it's excellent choice. You've heard that before. You got to eat.
Yeah.
Oh, you want the T-bone steak? Oh, excellent choice. T-bone steak, excellent choice. Oh, cool. Wanted to make sure I made that good choice.
That's good.
It's a good strategy, but also I think there's a level of authenticity that everybody's aiming for as well, or you should be aiming for as well. As if you really do mean that, say the things that you genuinely mean and be super authentic when you're doing outreach or you're doing sales. I wish I could pop up some videos when I reach out to people on LinkedIn, I send them a video. I don't even send text anymore because it's so saturated with nonsense on there. And I genuinely want to connect with somebody. So by default, I've changed the way that I outreach to video. And it's very authentic, dude. I'm not trying to fit some business or corporate mold. I am who I am. And if you don't like that, then, okay, cool. We filtered that connection then. But I typically reach out and say, hey, Bob, my name's Tim. As you can see, I'm on your profile right now. I'm trying to get through the noise on LinkedIn. As you probably know, you get a bunch of spam. Look, I am actively going after CFOs or executives. This is my search that I do. Your name popped up. Look, man, 30,000 foot view. This is what came across my desk. If I sent you some information about it, would you check it out? I think it's something that would do good for you and your staff. And it just works because it's real. It's just real.
You're going to respond to that. And it's literally they can't fake a video.
Oh, dude, this guy sent me a video. It's for me. He took time to do this. And it's like, yeah, dude, the same thing I would do if we were in person right now. And I found out you were an entrepreneur or business owner, did a podcast. I'm going to chat with you and I'm going to find things that I'm definitely interested in. I'm pretty good at being aggressively curious. What do you do? How'd you get here? But then if something comes up, I'm going to tell you about something that I think is good. And I'm going to try to connect dots. And that's all sales is. It's connecting someone with something
that they need. Yeah. That's perfect.
So anyway, LinkedIn's been really effective with that strategy of direct outreach is the video. And it's called Vidyard.
Yeah.
It's like you can add a caption to it and it's just a link. You could use Loom or anything else. You could use YouTube unlisted if you wanted to and upload it to YouTube, send the link there. But I like free. It doesn't have to be anything super crazy. I use my phone. I can't turn my laptop around, but I've got a nice camera and I've got nice stuff. But typically, dude, I just use my phone and it's just authentic. I'm not using a mic or anything rad. It's just,
that's really good.
But employers appreciate that too, man, especially like busy guys that are doing a bunch of other stuff. It's like real is going to recognize real. So if you're being honest and real and transparent, and you're pitching them whatever it is that you think is going to be good and it's genuine, you're probably going to get past. You're probably going to be able to at least have a conversation. And that's my chief aim, just to have a conversation.
I'll probably start doing that, honestly, to start getting
do it.
More guests on this show.
Dude, pitch. If you were to pitch me that same way, I'm 100% I'm going to do your podcast. 100%. Oh, dude. Yeah. Done.
That's good.
So who's your top guys that you would want to interview?
That's a good question.
You want to get Hermosi on here?
So I used to, my initial answer to that would be yes. But then again, I would ask him things that I know he is so literal that he would dance around because he's used to this before. So when I dig in and try to get the tactics and everything, he's going to result back to just do the work, essentially, versus the tactical stance of it and the strategy. So that would be my only worry with that. But man, I'd love to try it. Not right now. I don't think I'm primed for that yet, but eventually, yeah.
You're prime. Just freestyle it to some degree.
Yeah,
There's a guy I know. His name's Steve Harward. He'd be fun to interview. He owns Prime Corporate Services, Utah. Good dude, mentor of mine, super connected. He needs to know about the Podmatch platform as well. I don't know if they use that or not. I don't think they do, but he'd be a cool one. But yeah, anybody. I've been fortunate to meet some cool people, man. So I don't know if there's somebody that you think of or somebody in my world. Let me know. I'll be happy to nudge them or do a group chat. It's part of my job with the state too, man. It's just
connect
to help
people.
Connect. So
I love that.
It's fun.
Other than True Fans, and I have to mention that as well, True Fans is invite only. So if somebody wants to get connected with True Fans, what do they need to do?
Let's see. So they'll get connected with you. I'll give you an invitation so you can be an active creator, and then they can get access through you. That way, if they come through you, we do have a referral program with that as well. So it's just a cool way where we could all break bread. So if they're listening on this, we're all on this media wave together. So if they want to get access, they can hit you up, Dylan. And then if you send them an invitation, they can bypass the application process and they can go through and basically sign up, set up, and launch. And I'll give you some basic training on it. So if they have any questions, they got more than just one person or our support team to help. But yeah, just go through you. It'll be easy.
How else can somebody get a hold of you?
TimBranyan.com or at Tim Branyan. It's the best.
Okay. I'll link that too in the show notes.
Best way. Yeah. Branyan Tim is my Instagram. I just started that. I haven't even really connected with anybody on there. I added 3 pictures and
I'll definitely add that as well. So you can start building that following.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Sure. And I look forward to staying in touch with you too, man. Great questions. I appreciate the time and yeah, it'd be fun to stay connected.
I really appreciate you being on today, man.
Yeah. It's been cool.
Hey, if you're still listening, hopefully you got some value out of this or amusement. Either way, I really appreciate you for listening. My goal with this podcast is to build something of value while also showing others that it's possible to do the same. And what I mean by that is I'm not perfect at this. I fumble, I stutter, and I just want to show that it's okay. If you've been putting something off, this is me telling you to go for it. So I need your help in growing this, and there's 2 main ways a podcast grows. 1 is through ratings and reviews, and 2 is through word of mouth. So I can only do it with your help. If you can leave me a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, as well as post this to your social, it doesn't grow without you. Thank you. Talk to you all next week.